Welcome back, everyone. Did you miss me? Told you I wouldn't be gone long. Um, well, we can keep discussing the Anunnaki, but there's really not much more I can say about it. I have asked uh, the questions that I wanted to put out there. So the next topic I have, uh, I kind of wondered this a few times over the years. You know, when you watch Bigfoot on TV, the search forum. Um, do I think it's possible that surface dwelling species could be unknown to us? Yes, I absolutely do think that because even though they like us to think that the population of the planet is overwhelming, it's not. There's plenty of places that life exists without humanity. I know, surprise, surprise, right? But in this episode, what I want to discuss is not the possibility of Bigfoot or Sasquatch or Yeti or any of those being real creatures. I do think they could be. I think it's quite possible. And as far as Sasquatch goes, there's quite a bit of evidence saying yes, they are there. But I watched an episode on the Y Files talking about a time when humans and Neanderthals existed on the planet. And it was much more of an eye opener for me than anything else I'd previously considered about this species and our interactions with them. And then getting a DNA test and finding Neanderthal blood in my own bloodline, my mother's bloodline for sure. I had other questions. How could this be? Um, I know that it was possible for us to interbreed. I know that from what I've learned about Neanderthals. Um, I know that when I was first learning about them, of course, they didn't believe that could happen. Now they do, of course, and science proves they did. But it made me wonder if our populations and our skills to war in large groups is what saved us from the Neanderthal. Um, I believe that there were red haired, brown haired, I believe there are white haired, and I think there probably are blonde, depending in the regions where they're seen. Just like our skin is prone to the color of how much sun we get. I think it's kind of the same for their skin color and their hair color, just like ours. So I think that part's kind of the same. But did they actually go extinct? I mean, think about it. Think about it for a minute. Did they actually go extinct? Or did our numbers increase and our ability to warfare increase so much that we drove their populations down and maybe sent them into hiding where we thought they were gone for good? They just kind of learned to hide from us like we used to hide from them. I don't know what occurred in our evolution that caused this, uh, because we know that Neanderthals worked with tools, they made jewelry, they buried their dead. Uh, we Their histories are not that dissimilar from ours, except they used to prey on us, according to what archaeologists and scientists are discovering in the caves and the dwellings, the forests in which the Neanderthal dwelled. Now, some think that they were fully covered in hair, and some think no, they were partially, kind of like us, but no hair here, that kind of thing. But they're discovering no, that they actually did have more fur, more hair. It wasn't fur. That's a difference. They had much more hair on their bodies than we do. Uh, in similarities, physically, they're described exactly the same as us, except larger in body frame. And even though they weren't 6 foot tall, they were still massive beings. And there is believed now that it's possible there were Bigfoot, well, what we'd call Bigfoot, um, the, a Neanderthal species that was much bigger, 7, 8, and 9 foot tall. Um, the Indians, the Native Americans, have their descriptions of them. Some in the North say that they still exist and that if you're not threatening to them, they're not threatening to us. They're not interested in our dwellings. They're really not interested in us. They're more afraid of us. I don't know what in our evolution changed in our weaponry that we were able to do the kind of damage, because scientists still has not figured that part out. But what if the Bigfoots that we see are Neanderthals? What's left of them? If we drove their numbers down so greatly that they could hide easily, uh, like a lot of species we thought were gone and turned out, no, they're here. They're still around. Um, just their numbers are not as great. But the wars between us and the Neanderthals ended hundreds of years ago, maybe even thousands of years ago. Yet they've been depicted by so many cultures as still being there, which means we did diminish their numbers. But what if they stayed in hiding long enough that their numbers have grown substantially? And that's why we're now seeing them, because they are coming out of hiding, because their numbers are increasing. That's what we did to them by what the scientists describe the wars between our species to be like. Uh, we hid from them mostly at first until they had got our species almost down to extinction and had to hunt other creatures. Uh, and then they say the younger dryas hid and blah, blah, blah. From there, they starved because all their food source was gone. And what few survivors of us that were left were able to survive on the other things that survived here, because they weren't massive anymore. We could finally hunt the mammals that lived around our areas. The big stuff was gone mostly. And but what if, even though their numbers dwindled and went down so much that we thought them extinct, what if they're not? You know, to think that our planet could produce an animal like a Bigfoot is described. Uh, we know that some Neanderthals had 2 layers of teeth. That's also believed to be one of the traits of some of the Sasquatch. We know Neanderthals, some, not all, their muscle mass compared to modern humans was about 100-fold. I mean, they were just massive in structure. Even if they didn't have the tolerance of height, they did have this massive structure. And you can't beat up a brick wall. It doesn't fight back, but it'll break every bone in your hand. So kind of that. But if their numbers are coming back, or wherever they were living, the planet changes have made it where they can't live there anymore. Should we be concerned? Should we be searching for a better way to communicate with them without killing them? Maybe try to ensure the survival of both species by helping each other, because they now know how to survive on a planet we no longer know how to survive on. If you had to today go out into the wilderness, hunt for your food, learn how to make your own. I mean, there are even shows that prove you can't do this. And if you had to do it year after year, not just for a few months, you'd either adapt or die, because that is the natural way of things on Earth. Now, I don't want it to go that way. I like my creature comforts as a human being, being able to get on here and talk to you, uh, share my thoughts and crazy brain rattling ideas that come into my head, so that I don't go totally bonkers with them stuck there and nobody to share it with. I had to turn on my ceiling fan. It got so muggy. Now my hair keeps trying to fly away. Anyway, I mean, if you go by what science is learning and found, the Neanderthals ate us. We were food, especially our men. But they did find out that the females were good for breeding, even though many didn't survive. But there was a problem with Neanderthals killing their own children as well. I don't know, a lot of people don't know about that one. But during times of famine, they would kill the newborns and eat them. And they didn't cook them, and it was just a quick bash to the head and then food on the table. And that was how they had to look at it, because, I mean, when you're an animal and the only meal you've got in front of you is your child, it's been proven lions will eat their own cubs. So will wolves. It's not something unknown to Earth. Now, for a modern human thinking, oh my God, I would never do that. I would never, oh my God, I would never, 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 never. Yeah, you would. If you were hungry enough. Plane crashes prove that. How many times have people gone out, gotten a plane, crashed more than once, and ate the people that didn't survive, because they wanted to survive until they were found and saved and rescued? It's a natural instinct of survival. You will eat what's around you if you can stomach it. If you can get past that mental block, if you're hungry enough, you will. If you can't get past it, you're going to starve to death and die, and you'll be somebody else's meal. So find a way to stay alive, to keep off the dinner plate. I mean, that's how it is in the world. And I think that's how it is for Neanderthal. And I think that's how it is for Sasquatch. If it ain't food on the table, I think that's why the people they believe may have encountered a Sasquatch and died were never found. Because if you're taken to a den and eaten there, that's a whole different, yeah, they're not going to find you. You'll just get washed further and further back into the cave with every flood that comes through. So the likelihood of you even being discovered would be almost nil. Okay, I got to get off here because I have been on here for 15 minutes again. And even though I think this is a great subject, it's not really getting anywhere. So I will try you guys again later. Remember, like, share, comment, subscribe, please. As a working elderly woman, please subscribe and help my channel grow. Thank you. Thank you so much. And for those of you that did subscribe, we are so greatly appreciated. You are so greatly appreciated by us. You matter to me more than you know. So have a good day, and I'll talk to you later.